The Ohio-based missionary thanks the world for their support after their members are kidnapped in Haiti. Plus, the U.S. House votes to hold Trump ally Steve Bannon in contempt of Congress. And in sports, Ohio soccer looks to stay undefeated in the MAC. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Lexi Lepoff. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. Ohio Republicans are moving forward with a bill that would forbid the state government from banning gun sales during an emergency. Approved by the state Senate yesterday, the bill is one of several General Assembly proposals meant to restrict the government's powers related to emergency orders. If signed into a law, it would go into effect during a declared emergency as authorities suppress, quote, a riot, mob, or potential riot or mob. Bill sponsor Senator Tim Schaefer, a Lancaster Republican, says the legislation merely protects existing gun rights. An Ohio woman has her freedom back after spending nearly 20 years in prison. Today, a judge vacated the conviction of 57-year-old Kim Hoover Moore. Moore was convicted in the death of a 9-month-old girl found unresponsive at her home daycare in Columbus in 2002. Hoover Moore's conviction was based on a coroner's assessment the child suffered from so-called shaken baby syndrome, but new evidence showed an older undetected injury could have killed the baby.
I am forecaster Ashley Ziegler, and right now we have a temperature of 61 degrees. We are under a marginal risk for severe weather right now, with the primary concern being damaging winds. Though right now we only have winds of 7 miles an hour from the west. Here is our convective outlook showing that marginal risk, and as you can see, most of our viewing area is in that marginal risk for severe weather. Here is our temperatures right now, with most of the area seeing temperatures in the low to upper 60s. 61 in Columbus and Newark, 66 in Ripley, and 67 in Ironton. Here are your weekend highlights. We will have cool temperatures with most of the temperatures in the 60s, and a chance of rain Friday and Sunday with lows into the 40s. Now back to Lexi with news.
Workers at a West Virginia hospital are preparing for a potential strike. Maintenance and service union workers at Cabell Huntington Hospital have given notice that they intend to go on a 10-day strike if a new contract isn't reached soon. Union officials said in a statement that workers are fighting for quality care, safe staffing, wages that allow them to provide for their families, and health insurance coverage. Cabell Huntington Human Resources Director Molly Frick says the hospital will continue good faith negotiations in order to reach a fair and equitable agreement. A Wisconsin man is charged with murder after allegedly stabbing and killing a man and injuring one more on the Ohio Turnpike. Investigators say the victims were attacked Tuesday afternoon at a Travel Plaza parking lot. According to the Sandusky County Sheriff, a deputy shot and injured the suspect after trying to stop him with non-lethal rubber bullets. Investigators say they don't know what led to the stabbings as of now. The families of 17 missionaries kidnapped over the weekend in Haiti are thanking worshipers around the world for their prayers. As of now, the kidnappers are demanding a $17 million ransom for the group's release. Weston Showalter of Millersburg Christian Aid Ministries spoke in front of the congregation earlier today, expressing gratitude for the outpour of support.
Dear Church of Christ around the world, thank you for your prayers on behalf of our family members who are being held hostage in Haiti. God has given.
Today's message was the first public statement from the family since last weekend's kidnapping. The people abducted are from Amish, Mennonite, and other conservative Anabaptist communities across 6 U.S. states and Ontario. The gang responsible for the recent kidnapping of Ohio missionaries 400 Mawazo is especially notorious in Haiti. In general, gangs in Haiti are tightening their control over the entire country. The Associated Press reports gangs now control up to 40% of Port-au-Prince, a city more than 2.8 million people. Over 320 kidnappings have been reported in the country since the start of this year, according to a recent UN report. Coming up, House Democrats vote to hold Steve Bannon in contempt of Congress, and the CDC moves forward with COVID vaccine booster guidance. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
It's the final week of the regular season, the final time for teams to make their case for making the playoffs. We'll head to Jackson for our game of the week as the Ironmen take on Chillicothe. We'll be seeing two 9-0 teams as Ridgewood takes on Garraway. And we'll go beyond the lines as we'll announce the winning school from our student section showdown. All this and more at 11:30 p.m. on Friday, 11:30 a.m. on Saturday. So come over and experience all the action only on WOUB.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, there are non-stop tears of joy.
Can't believe it.
Really? I had no idea.
Congratulations. Oh, I have to give you guys a hug.
You're kidding.
No, do you still think it's ugly?
Watch next time on Antiques Roadshow, Tearjerkers.
All along the New England coast, ospreys are icons of summer. They've come to take up their greatest challenge, to compete with each other, to fend off thieves, and to raise tiny, helpless chicks. For an osprey, summer is no day at the beach. It's an annual call to battle and the toughest test of everything they are.
The U.S. House of Representatives has voted to hold Steve Bannon, an ally to former President Donald Trump, in contempt of Congress. The vote comes after Bannon refused to comply with a subpoena from the January 6th Select Committee. Ryan Nobles reports.
Thank you very much.
Steve Bannon, a longtime advisor of former President Donald Trump, and the man who predicted this on the day before January 6th,
All hell is going to break loose tomorrow.
is now in a legal predicament. The House of Representatives voting to refer him to the Department of Justice for criminal contempt of Congress because he has refused to comply with the subpoena of the January 6th Select Committee.
On January 5th, Steve Bannon said on his podcast that all hell is going to break loose tomorrow. He promised something unprecedented, unforeseen, and told everybody to buckle up or fasten on or whatever. I mean, you tell me.
The vote now triggers a process in the hands of the Department of Justice. They will decide if Bannon's defiance is worthy of prosecution. If convicted, Bannon could face fines and jail time. Attorney General Merrick Garland will have the final call.
The department recognizes the important oversight role that this committee, the House of Representatives, and the Senate play with respect to the executive branch.
He was on Capitol Hill today, being grilled by Republicans over things like the independence of the DOJ and conflicts at school board meetings. But when Democrats asked about Bannon, he refused to tip his hand.
The Department of Justice will do what it always does in such circumstances. It will apply the facts and the law and make a decision consistent with the principles of prosecution.
Meanwhile, the committee continues to negotiate with other Trump allies to get them to cooperate with their investigation. They've postponed depositions for former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and Pentagon official Kash Patel. Dan Scavino, the former Deputy White House Chief of Staff, is now scheduled to appear before the committee on November 4th, as some lawmakers sound the alarm about future elections.
Even now, however, the ex-president and his allies continue to cast doubt on the last election and appear to be drafting a plan to overturn the next one. And next time, we may not be so lucky.
All this while Trump himself continues to peddle false rhetoric about the 2020 election and attempts to whitewash the violence and chaos of January 6th. The insurrection took place on November 3rd, Trump wrote in a statement. January 6th was a protest.
Bannon has cited executive privilege for his refusal to cooperate with investigators. President Biden is back in his hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania. The White House says he's laying out exactly what is included in his massive new economic compromise. Caitlin Collins reports many Democratic leaders are saying they're increasingly optimistic a deal will be done within days.
President Biden looking for the end game.
I'm hopeful. I think we'll get a good deal.
The president making last-minute concessions as Democrats struggle to compromise on his plan to reshape the social safety net and fight climate change.
Everyone is going to have to compromise if we're going to find that legislative sweet spot we can all get behind.
Biden offering a new price tag, telling Democrats it will likely be in the $1.75 trillion to $1.9 trillion range, further from the $3.5 trillion sought by progressives and closer to Senator Joe Manchin's $1.5 trillion proposed ceiling. Biden warning the 2 years of free community college likely won't make the cut, despite being a massive priority that he touted for months.
And then I want to add 2 years of free community college for everyone. And we can afford it.
While initially calling for 12 weeks of paid leave for new parents, that could now be reduced to 4 weeks. And the child tax credit will likely only be extended for another year, despite hopes it would be longer.
This has the potential to reduce child poverty in the same way that the Social Security reduced poverty for the elderly.
The crucial climate portion of the plan also remains undecided as party leaders work to bridge the divide between progressives and moderate holdouts.
There's no doubt in my mind that the implications of the final package will be historic when it comes to fighting climate change.
The bill is still expected to include some of the biggest Democratic priorities, including expanding Medicare, universal pre-K, and billions for climate change.
I think the thing I feel the best about is the Progressive Caucus had 5 priorities that we laid out 5 months ago, and all of those 5 priorities are in this bill.
The budget plan is unlikely to gain bipartisan backing, but under Senate rules, it can be passed with just 50 votes. The number of Americans looking to get their COVID-19 booster shots are now exceeding those getting their first-time shots. According to CDC data, there are 1.3 times as many boosters as there are first-time vaccinations, and that number could go up. Steve Nannis is in Washington with the latest.
As the push to get every eligible American vaccinated against COVID-19 continues, there is some growing concern over breakthrough infections. Health experts say boosters may be the key to maintaining immunity for those already fully vaccinated.
The boosters are there to extend the protection that people have been getting.
Until this week, only the Pfizer vaccine had been authorized as a booster for certain high-risk groups, but on Wednesday, the FDA granted both Moderna and Johnson & Johnson authorization for their booster doses.
The availability of these authorized boosters is important for continued protection against COVID-19 disease.
Now, the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee is looking to clarify its own guidance and vote on boosters for both Moderna and Johnson & Johnson. Typically, shots can be administered once the CDC director signs off on the recommendations.
CDC's recommendations will not just address who should receive a booster dose, but also include what vaccine they should receive, how, and when.
Health experts say authorizing boosters could help pave the way to the end of the pandemic, but say boosters alone are not the solution.
It is those first doses that matter most for community spread, for hospitalizations, and for death. It's not the boosters that are going to make the difference, it's those first doses of vaccine.
In Washington, I'm Steve Nannis.
A major health warning regarding climate change. That story still ahead.
It has been a dry and cool week for Southeast Ohio, but will these fall-like conditions continue? Find out more in my full forecast. But for now, let's take a look at stocks of local interest.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, there are nonstop tears of joy.
Can't believe it.
Really? I had no idea.
Congratulations. Oh, I have to give you guys a hug.
You're kidding.
No. Do you still think it's ugly?
Watch next time on Antiques Roadshow Tearjerkers.
It's the final week of the regular season, the final time for teams to make their case for making the playoffs. We'll head to Jackson for our game of the week as the Ironmen take on Chillicothe. We'll be seeing two 9-0 teams as Ridgewood takes on Garraway. And we'll go beyond the lines as we'll announce the winning school from our student section showdown. All this and more at 11:30 p.m. on Friday, 11:30 a.m. on Saturday. So come over and experience all the action only on WOUB.
All along the New England coast, ospreys are icons of summer. They've come to take up their greatest challenge, to compete with each other, to fend off thieves, and to raise tiny, helpless chicks. For an osprey, summer is no day at the beach. It's an annual call to battle and the toughest test of everything they are.
Hi everyone, I'm forecaster Ashley Zickler, and right now we have the surface analysis. As you can see, we had a cold front move in through today through our area, bringing up precipitation and that marginal risk for severe weather. With that severe weather, the most concern that we have is the damaging winds that those storms will bring. The satellite image will show the cold front with these cloud formations from that cold front, and these lines of clouds are likely the storms, or will be bringing those severe storms and those damaging winds. In Athens tonight, we will have a low of 46 degrees. Severe storms are likely throughout the night and into tomorrow morning. Though right now we will expect winds between 0 to 5 miles an hour from the west, and we will have a humidity of 93%, so it will be very muggy outside. Here is our hour by hour for tonight. We will start off at 8 p.m. with 59 degrees. Temps will drop to 51 by midnight, high humidity, and there will be calm winds. And we take a look at the regional lows for tonight. Sorry for that technical issue. We will see lows in the 40s for most of the area. 47 in Ripley, 48 in Ironton, 48 in Newark and Cambridge, with mostly and partly cloudy skies for the area. Here's our hour by hour for tomorrow. Starting off 8 a.m., 48. Temps will increase to 55 by noon. High humidity will linger throughout the day, and we will have calm winds. Here is our Athens for tomorrow. High of 58 degrees. High humidity will linger, as I mentioned. Mostly cloudy skies and winds from 0 to 5 miles an hour from the west still. Showers are likely, though, after 9 p.m. Here are our regional highs for tomorrow. 58 degree or 50, the upper 50s and low 60s is what most of the area will see. Mostly cloudy skies with 60 in Ripley and Ironton, 59 in Columbus, and 58 degrees in Athens. Here is our 7-day forecast, and as you can see, we will have 58 degrees be our high for Friday, 61 into Saturday, 66 into Sunday, and we will likely see chances of rain almost every day starting Sunday next week. Lows will drop into the 40s for most of the week with a 52 Sunday night. We will have a warm-up, though, Wednesday at 68, and likely a cold front will move through, dropping our temperatures right back down to 60. Now back to Lexi with news.
Researchers say the climate is set to have a code red impact on human health, and they say it's continuing to get worse. Mandy Gaither has more on the climate's effects on people in today's Health Minute.
As Republicans and Democrats continue to grapple over the climate crisis,
we know the wildfires, hurricanes, that there is a climate crisis.
We have good ideas, and we intend to get a seat at the climate table and be productive with our ideas.
A report published in the Lancet Medical Journal predicts droughts will hurt food production, rising temperatures will encourage the spread of dangerous pathogens like malaria and cholera, and current climate trends indicate a code red for future health. In a 6-month period in 2020, the report says more than 51 million people were impacted by 84 disasters, from floods, droughts, and storms in countries already struggling with COVID-19. It says climate change contributed to more than 1,000 deaths during a record-breaking heat wave in the U.S. Pacific Northwest. The authors writing, the 2021 report of the Lancet Countdown finds a world overwhelmed by an ongoing global health crisis, which has made little progress to protect its population from the simultaneously aggravated health impacts of climate change. In an editorial with the report, authors say succumbing to the climate emergency is not inevitable, but change is necessary. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The authors note that people over the age of 65 or younger than 1 year were among the most affected by record-breaking high temperatures in the Northwest U.S. and Canada this year.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm Jack Demler. The Ohio soccer team is in action tonight. See who travels to Chesterfield to take on the #1 team in the MAC when Newswatch returns. But be sure to stay tuned to WOUB, as here's a look at what's coming up on your public television station.
The final week of the regular season, the final time for teams to make their case for making the playoffs. We'll head to Jackson for our game of the week as the Ironmen take on Chillicothe. We'll be seeing two 9-0 teams as Ridgewood takes on Garraway. And we'll go beyond the lines as we'll announce the winning school from our student section showdown. All this and more at 11:30 p.m. on Friday, 11:30 a.m. on Saturday. So come over and experience all the action only on WOUB.
I volunteered for missions. It was just too exciting.
Beware what you wish for.
That's when the ambush starts.
He was walking on the ridge line, and I fired.
You are never the same.
It's important for people to hear these stories, to understand why and when and where we send our sons and daughters to go and fight, but also in helping us to come home.
American Veteran, Tuesday, October 26 at 9, 8 Central, only on PBS.
This bridge proved the power of a miracle material and ride the railroad that made coast-to-coast train travel possible. I'm Jeffrey Bear, and I'll be your guide as we visit 10 amazing feats of civil engineering. Find out which marvels made the list of 10 modern marvels that changed America.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Jack Demler. The first place Ohio Bobcats soccer team remained unbeaten in conference play after defeating Eastern Michigan. The Bobcats had multiple chances early but couldn't get anything to go as Morgan Colica gets the pass and tries to bend it like Beckham, but it ricochets off the defender. Later on, Haley Miller gets the pass outside the box and is going to look to score, but it goes right to the keeper, Rebecca Prizzi-Bilo. With 2 minutes left in the first half, Eastern finds the back of the net thanks to a goal from Jamie Lefferby. Ohio took over in the second half, scoring 2 unanswered for the 2-1 victory. Ohio soccer is back in action Sunday at Central Michigan. And sticking with teams on a hot streak, the Ohio volleyball team's win streak is now at 4 games after a win over Kent State in 5 sets. After splitting the first 4, the Bobcats took over in the final set 15-11 for their 4th straight conference victory. Fifth-year Magna Doma and coach Jeff Carlson say the win has team's confidence high.
Nothing really dropped with us. I think we've done a great job working with Jeff and buying into the new coaching staff. on making sure that we come into practice and grind every day, and we come into games and grind every day. I would say, like, if you look at our record before MAC play, you'd be like, oh, there's something. But every day we came in here ready to play, and it's just finally now paying off for us.
They've always been buying in, but now we're starting to play better volleyball, and a win helps, right? So I don't think we're walking around going like, we're awesome, but that's a big win. You know, we're tied. Now we're in sole possession of second place in our division, and that's a cool thing for this group.
The Ohio football team welcomes in Kent State this weekend to start a 2-game homestand. The Bobcats are looking to shake off a devastating last-second loss to Buffalo. Head coach Tim Albin said he is excited for what he anticipates to be an exciting game.
Looking forward to being back at home against Kent State. Obviously, they're coming off a tough loss, as we are. Road loss, I think, at Western. Just got done studying the film here as a staff. So, obviously, I think their preseason pick to win our side, and with the quarterback and what they return and the amount of experienced older guys they got, I definitely see that. But it should be a whale of a game, and we're excited about having the opportunity to get in front of a home crowd again.
The Cleveland Browns also look to break a 2-game losing streak as they welcome the Denver Broncos to First Energy Stadium. However, this Browns team looks a little different than it did at the start of the season. The Browns are going through a lot of adversity by way of injury. Key players listed as out or questionable include quarterback Baker Mayfield, running backs Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. Kickoff is set for 8:20. I'm Jack Demler, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Lexi.
Jacksonville Jaguars defensive tackle Dwayne Smoot delivered his own daughter at home early Tuesday morning. The 26-year-old shared these photos of his new daughter, Alani Moon Smoot, on his Instagram page. The delivery happened after his wife collapsed in their living room when they were about to leave for the hospital. He recounts how a 911 operator walked him through the birthing process.
During the time that the ambulance, we were always on the phone with the ambulance, they told me to grab a shoestring, which I had no idea what I was going to use a shoestring for. But I grabbed a shoestring, and they told me to tie it around the umbilical cord to allow the blood flow to be able to go to the baby. And yeah, that's what we used. They just walked me through it, and I grabbed one of my shoes and just tore it out as soon as I could.
Smoot added that he, his wife, and daughter are doing. Back to Ashley for a final look at weather.
Temperature of 58 degrees to be the high tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies, and winds from the west of 0 to 5 miles an hour. We will have high humidity, and there is a chance of showers after 9 p.m. As we take a look at the regional highs tomorrow, most of the area will be seeing highs in the upper 50s and low 60s, 60 in Ironton and Ripley. Here is your 7-day forecast. Most of the area tomorrow we will have 58, and it will increase into the 60s on Saturday and Sunday, and will continue out through the 60s through the rest of the week. There will also be a chance of rain Sunday through Thursday, and lows will be in the 40s for most of the week, except on Sunday where it'll be 52. Now back to Lexi.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Lexi Lepoff. And remember to stay tuned to PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.